What's up guys, my name is Khan and we're back today with more Scrap Mechanic, and today we're actually looking at my first ever built challenge in the challenge mode. Now, I am going to publish this challenge to the workshop, but in order to do that, I have to actually be able to beat the challenge myself. So I have yet to beat this challenge. I've built it and I'm pretty sure it'll work. And it's really cool. It's a Mars Rover Landing challenge. So we've got to actually have a Mars rover that's a fully automatic vehicle that can land down there on that small little section of the red planet. And of course, it'll land on this side, has to go through a checkpoint at the center of the U, and then go through the finish line itself and do it as fast as possible. The other thing I did want to mention, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, is bringing back a challenge series to the channel. We used to do logic challenges a long time ago, and I stopped doing that because it took too long to go through all the submissions. But with the challenge mode, it's kind of nice because we can just look at who got the best times and people can post screenshots of their times as well as the winning creation. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but if that's something you guys are interested, of course, let me know in the comments down below and I'll gladly look at redoing a new challenge series where I can build these challenges and beat them myself, as well as have you guys try and compete. And I did try to make this as cheat proof as possible. You'll notice we're actually trapped in a glass box and there's no way to get out of it. Even if we come down here, this is all sealed in as well. So it's a really cool challenge and we'll take a look at it. But let me know, of course, what you guys think in the comments about bringing that challenge series back. So this is the automatic Mars Rover drop challenge. You can see we've got 4 chests of stuff here. We've got tons of materials. We've got, you know, pipes, all sorts of stuff, tons of logic, and of course, tons more logic. It's probably a little bit excessive to have 2 chests of logic blocks, but you know what? I figured it's going to be an automatic vehicle. We'll give people a ton of stuff. Now, really simply, we've got the build area here, and you'll notice we've got the goal platform here, but the goal platform is not lit up just yet. And even if we start the challenge, it's not lit up. The reason why is we have to start the challenge with this green button, and then of course our rover has to drive through the checkpoints down below. So we'll actually go take a look at that. We'll just have to cut a hole in the glass here and we can float our way down. Now you'll notice there's sort of this big hole in the middle with that caution block door, and as soon as you hit that green button, it opens up those doors and drops the rover down, all the way down from there onto the surface of the red planet. Now, there are thrusters, so you can build a mechanism to try and slow it down if you want. You could just have it drop straight and hope it lands flat, or build some sort of cushioning mechanism. It's however you want. Once it lands, you have to have it navigate this sort of bumpy terrain. Now, the terrain only goes up in 1 block intervals. There's no real big bumps or anything, so it's just kind of like rocky terrain. And it goes through 1 checkpoint here, and then, of course, it continues along and then goes through the second set of checkpoints here and going on to the end. Now, of course, you'll notice there are edges here, so you could just make something that uses sensors to sense where the edges are and tries to drive along that. Or you could make something that senses the color red, and you see we've got these red sort of, you know, things here. But regardless, I'm gonna try and build something relatively simple that can just drop down and complete this challenge. So I actually totally forgot there's a door under here, and we can actually just go in here and get inside. And I'll show you guys what this is all for. So let's just go right into the build and test mode here. Let's go save and test. And we haven't actually beaten this challenge yet. And you'll notice it kind of ejects us out. The player spawner is here. And this is, again, one of those sort of anti-cheat mechanisms. So when you press the green button, you'll start the timer, you start the challenge. You can see it dropped those doors open, and it made this sort of thing a big hole. Now, boom, it actually seals us in. You can see this piston plate after 5 seconds slides in and completely covers the hole. So now we're trapped again in this glass cube, and we can't delete our way out or anything like that. So we are completely trapped in here, and there's no way we could jump down and be a person and, you know, run through the challenge as a person. Now, we do have this awesome sort of viewing screen. So basically, you got to sit up here and watch your rover from this incredible distance as it drives through. I'm hoping we can actually see it. So I've reset the challenge, and if we press it again, you'll notice now we can jump down really quick. And if we beat the panel, there we go, we could run through here. And now we could actually go through the checkpoints ourselves. And so we've beaten it, and again, you know, 5 seconds. So we're just going to pretend we're the rover, and boom, lights up those 2 green lights, which I don't think you can really see up there. There is a light up there that lights up as well. There's 2 lights up there to let you know. And once, of course, both lights are lit up, then you can run just the dwarf yourself through the finish line. And boom, the second one lights up here. You'll probably be thinking, well, we can just jump off here and it'll respawn us, but you'll see the platform that respawns has actually been moved away. And I did this again to prevent cheaters. So you can't just jump through and jump down, because now we're kind of stuck outside the glass dome. And you can see the finish line is lit up, but there's actually no way for us to get there. And, you know, there's nothing we could do here. So I tried as best I can to avoid cheaters. I'm sure someone will still find some way to cheat, but I think it's a great challenge. But what I figured I'll do is build a robot and validate this challenge so we can actually build it. And if we do decide on a challenge series, then for future episodes, I think what I'll do is show the challenge without showing how I validated it, and then go through the submissions and then finally show it. All right, so my basic plan here is just to make a concrete vehicle. We're gonna use large wheels, and I think we'll just make it have 6 wheels with some double bearings set up, you know, a tank drive type logic system to move forward and backwards, and then have sensors that kind of look in all the directions to determine that. So we'll start with just a really basic concrete body. I'm not gonna use any thrusters on this. I did include thrusters so people can try and be crazy and do something that either powers it down really quickly and then slows it down before it lands, or whatever you want to do. If you do hit the bottom, I believe the bottom floor is only 1 or 2 thick concrete, so you could wedge your robot into the bottom if it lands too hard. But I figure I'll just do a really basic tank drive robot just to actually beat this challenge and validate that it's possible. And hopefully it'll have a wide enough body to actually land. I've tried to include as many parts as possible for these challenges. I don't want the limit on the design being on the parts you have. So you'll notice I've even included stuff like pistons, all sorts of suspension, tons of bearings, different engines. You can use gas engines, all the materials really, just light, medium, and heavy. And, you know, tons of pipes. I figure this would allow people to do, you know, double wishbone suspension, crazy setups like that if you really thought it was necessary. And then, of course, enough logics to build, you know, really whatever you want. But for now, we're just going to put down some engines. So we're going to have a front and back on this side, a front and back on this side. We'll hook up all the fronts to the inside bearings and all the backs to the outside bearings. And for this build, I think what I'm going to do is just have some sensors on the sides that look for the edge. And if it sees the edge, it tries to turn away from it using the tank steering. And hopefully that's good enough to, you know, avoid going off into oblivion. So here we go. That's the setup. We're going to have a sensor on the front because you'll see here, there's actually a glass barrier. So we'll have a sensor on the front that basically stops the whole creation. If that sensor's active, the entire thing will stop moving. Put this on the back so we can turn the whole thing on. So that'll be useful. It'll be this switch and not the front sensor. So if the front sensor is not on and this switch is on, that'll trigger the thing to move forward. And then, of course, we need some other sensors on the side to find where the edge is. So to do these, I think we're just going to put them on maybe like an extension arm and then have a controller that kind of looks out so they're on a little bit of an angle. So we'll just extend this arm out here. Hold on, if we extend that out, it's going to bottom out the suspension. Let's go forward, 1, 2, 1, 2, there we go. And we can put the sensors just hanging off there. And we're going to put them on the back as well, but they're just here to balance the weight. So we're just going to put an extra block there just to make sure our weight is as even as possible. And then, of course, we can put our bearings on the front with our extra 2 sensors. And we'll set these to range 20. These are going to sense the ground, and when they don't sense the ground, it'll stop that side from moving. And then, of course, we put a controller right here in the middle. Again, just trying to keep the weight as balanced as possible. Hopefully this will work. And let's try 30 degrees. All right, so if we draw a line of sight of this sensor, it's going to see the ground right there. I think that'll be good enough. Hopefully, if we hit a bump. The problem is, if it hits a bump and it tilts that whole side of the creation up, it might think that it's going off the ground when really it's not. But you know what? We'll try it like this and see what happens. Now all we need to do is set the rest of the controls. So we need an AND gate for each of these. And really simply, if this is on and the front is on, the front sensor is on like so, then it'll go forward. And if this is on and the front sensor is not seeing anything, then it has to make that side, the opposite side, go backwards. So actually these need to be cross-wired. So this one needs to be wired up to that side, and this one needs to go right up to this side. All right, so we need a NOT gate for each of these sensors, and that way if the front left sensor doesn't see anything, then we need to reverse the right side to turn away from the left. And if the front right sensor doesn't see anything, then we need to reverse the left side to turn away from the right. So we should be able to just hook this all up. And hopefully this is a really basic tank mechanism. I guess we want it to make sure that none of these wheels are spinning in midair. So actually to do that, we'll just put another sensor right here looking down and set that to a range of 20. Maybe 10. And we'll just have that hooked into everything as well, so that if that sensor is not activated, it means it doesn't see the ground. If it doesn't see the ground, it means it won't move forward. Let's try and line this up center. Doesn't really matter where it is in the build area. I think that's centered enough. And then if we tell it to move forward, that is a slow rover, but you know what? It's good. You'll see it doesn't actually start the build process. There's no seat on it. And it should stop when it sees that glass, right? Oh my god, that suspension is really, really loose. Okay. Okay, it stopped. You know, it's a little close to glass. Maybe we'll just set this to 10. And we'll try that again. The doors open pretty quickly, so as long as it's centered in the doors, they both open from the center out to the bottom. So hopefully it's enough to kind of just have the floor drop out from the rover and not have it flip over. Obviously, having some sort of a gyro stabilizing mechanism would be the ideal way to do this, but I think we're good to go. So we can park our rover right here before the challenge even starts, and this will split in half, and that's where it's gonna fall. So I think it's pretty close in the middle, and I guess we'll do the first attempt here. So 3, 2, 1, drop. All right, that's a pretty even drop. Is it? I can't tell. I should have dropped with it to see how it was doing. Oh boy. Oh, it looks like it hit. Oh, it's moving. Is it moving? It looks like it's moving. I can't tell what it's doing. It's so slow. It's so slow. It is the, you know what? Let's reset real quick. We're actually gonna drop with it this time. I wanna watch it from the ground. Obviously, we won't be able to finish the challenge, but I want to make sure it works from the ground first before we actually go. So here we go. We'll boot it up. We have 5 seconds from the time this door opens to the time we get completely shut out from the ground. So we'll just press this button and we'll just drop through. And uh-oh, I don't want to screw it up. Let me just drop next to it. There we go. Perfect. Oh, it landed kind of rough there, but you know what? It's okay. All right. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Hopefully it just sees this wall. Look at that soft suspension. That's so cool. It's amazing. It just kind of hits these little bumps, doesn't even notice. So you'll see a very, very simple way to beat this challenge. I mean, I hope. I'm saying I'm going to beat it. It depends. Is it going to see this edge? Oh, look at that. That's just so great. All right, keep going. Okay, see that edge. Don't drive off now. Okay. I mean, it's very terrible. Obviously, we could do it with other sensor methods, and it would be a lot better. But just really, really cool stuff. I love how this thing just tackles the terrain of Mars, no problem. This is a very rocky portion of Mars, I will say. But I think it's a pretty cool challenge. And if you guys do want me to do a full-out series of logic challenges, of course, let me know in the comments down below. For future ones, I'll show the map. I'll have the map already completed with some creation, but I won't show you guys the creation because I do want to see what you guys do completely uninspired. But you can see in just, you know, a few minutes, you can whip together something that can obviously beat this challenge pretty slowly. We'll probably get, you know, a minute 30 and something, and actually we can't beat it because I'm not up top. Nice and slow. We're not really going for a speed record. I just want to validate the map, and here we go. We'll do this rover drop. Hopefully we've got all the lights up, and there we go. Time. Bye, rover. Perfect. Panel slides into place. We can just kind of go through here. All right, it's landed. It's moving. It doesn't move too quick, but you know what? It's all right. It does pretty good. The one thing I will say about this challenge editor, you can't use mods unless you do all sorts of crazy stuff. Durf did tell me that there is a way to get mods into the challenge editor, but you kind of have to do the old school way of installing mods. So hopefully at some point the devs add mod support so we can do some challenges that have some modded parts, but it's still pretty good. This one's actually got, look, a much better center, and there we go. You can see it's actually turned on that checkpoint, so it does let us know that that checkpoint is good to go. And in fact, once it turns this corner and it's kind of lined up on that final stretch, I'm gonna actually run back up so we can get a, you know what, actually I don't care. We'll just watch it go through the finish and then we'll go get a decent time. And who cares? We'll just wait until it lights up that second one just to make sure. But yeah, we could actually go up and just stand on the goal platform. So as soon as this creation gets through the platform, it activates, which is really what you want to do if you're competing in a time trial type event. But obviously for me, I really don't care. Somebody is definitely going to beat a time of, what is this, 1 minute and, so it'd be like 1 minute and 18 seconds maybe if I was actually standing on the platform. But there we go. It's lit up both of those. And then of course it's lit up the goal platform, and we should be able to get this in a 1:26.850. Pretty decent time. Not too bad. Just out of curiosity's sake, what happens if we stiffen up the suspension and make it stiffer suspension in the back, as well as increase the speed of all the engines, just so the back helps absorb some of the rocking? Let's see what happens here. Does this work? Can it actually drive? Might have to stiffen up the front suspension as well. Nope, it's good that time. It's landed. Looks like it's able to drive as well. As long as it doesn't drive off the edge here, we should be good to go. And then I'm gonna actually run and sit in the goal line and try and get a record time. Oh my goodness, that looked like, whoa, buddy. Just overshot the edge like crazy. That's okay. All right, as long as it makes this final turn and it gets on that final straight, we're gonna run and sit up in the goal line. You can see with the faster engine speed, it's definitely gonna beat that 1 minute. All right, it's on the final straight. Let's go. Let's get a record time here. All right, stand right in the goal. Come on, record time. Wait, what? It doesn't work if you stand in the goal. Oh, 46 seconds. So you have to stand out of the goal, and then it'll activate once you walk through the goal after it actually completes that final checkpoint. But regardless, you know what? We'll keep that. 46.9 will be my record time for now. I'll save this and validate it and send it to the workshop, and I look forward to seeing all your guys' submissions as well. So the one thing I only noticed after I uploaded the challenge is that if you go to challenge now and we take a look at it and we click at it and we go to play it, there is one kind of problem that'll actually prevent us from doing this logic challenges thing, and hopefully the devs fix this so we can actually get into doing a community submissions type thing. So for now, you can join the challenge, and you can see we can go to play it, and I haven't actually beaten the challenge yet, supposedly, even though I beat it to test it, but the problem we've got is the lift itself doesn't work, so we can't actually save and load anything on the lift. And even if we play the entire challenge and build a creation here on the lift, I still can't save it when I'm done, so there's no way for me to validate that the times you're submitting are actually valid times or not. So I encourage you guys, still go on the Discord and still post screenshots of your winning times if you do the challenge, but unfortunately, I can't validate that anyone's got a full completed time or not. So if someone gets a 0-second time, obviously they somehow cheated. But if someone gets a time that seems unreasonable, I actually have no way of proving that their creation worked or not. So hopefully the devs can fix this one little thing here and allow us to actually save and load creations on the lift so we can do this community challenge kind of series. But I still will build a few more challenges that require logic type creations to build. I still think it's a great idea, but unfortunately, until they give us the ability to access the lift, there's nothing we can do about it. But of course, still let me know what you think of this challenge series in the comments down below, and hopefully we can get that fixed so we can actually do this challenge series. And let me know what kind of challenges you would like to see. I definitely am going to focus on challenges that require fully automatic vehicles, or at least, you know, partially automatic solutions. But I would love, of course, to hear what your comments are down below. So of course, let me know what you think, and while you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.